and I didn't mean it. I misrepresented and over again. So the final piece of the Invalids drums puzzle is actually manipulating the MIDI notes that I've produced from Tabit to really take full use, make full use of the Addictive Drums VST. So if we look at this MIDI file, this is the whole thing sort of blown up in a giant mess. And we see down here, this is a kick drum, right? This is mapped to Addictive Drums. These are snares. Okay, up here we have hi-hats that are closed. That's like a foot chick. Tapping the hi-hat, you know, with the stick, okay? But so in Addictive Drums, there's not just two snares, there's like a bunch of snares. Right, all these are different snare hits that were recorded somewhat differently or whatever, but it would really behoove us to make use of all of those snares. So within Cubase, and probably I'm sure you know other DAWs as well, right? There's what's called the logical editor. Which it allows you to input a command and it sort of manipulates your data for you. So what I am going to do, I have a bunch of presets saved, but I'll kind of talk us through what I'm doing here. If we look at sort of the basic, it says type is equal to note. So that means like literally every note is going to be affected by this, right? Let me select all first. So everything that is equal to a note will be affected by whatever I tell it to do, okay? So we have things like value 1, value 2, length, all right? Value 1 is the, in this case, is the note identity, so which actual drum, which, you know, is being played. So I have a bunch of presets, like right here, snare, okay, my snare preset. I'm going to say everything that's equal to D1. So if we look at this down here, this is D1. That is the top of every time there are two snares here, only the top snare. I'm going to take the top snare and randomly assign it to any of those other snares that Addictive Drums has, and then keep that bass, the C sharp one or the 38 from the Tabit. I'm going to keep that constant so that there's always this nice constant underlying note, but the layered note is always changing. Okay, so anything where the value 1 is D1, so that top snare, I'm going to set a relative random value between 0 and 2. So that will, let me hit apply and you can watch them move, right? You see, so now it randomly just sort of shot between here. So now we make use of all these different snares. Okay, I have a similar one for the closed hi-hats. Right, so then all these moved, and a similar for the open hi-hats, which is like somewhere up here. Okay, open hi-hats aren't used that much in this song, but that really, especially when you're carrying a beat on the same drum, and to have the different sample, like you're hitting it from kind of a different angle every time, it really helps to add the human element to it. Another thing I like to do just to kind of clean it up is I have right here, I have length. Because drums are sort of a binary, like hit or not hit, it doesn't matter how long the MIDI note is because it's only reading the pulse, the initial hit. So just to keep everything clean, I'm going to say everything that's a note and the length is equal to this short amount, and then it's much easier to look at. Everything is just a uniform dot on here. The last thing that I like to do is, if we look at the bottom, this is the velocity of each note here. Most of the velocities are the velocity that I had the whole track in Tabit, which is about 100 in this song. Okay, so most of the things are at 100, and that just doesn't sit well. I don't like this big flat line right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say that value 2, which is velocity, I'm going to take everything there and just set a relative random value, between like -8 and 0. And what that's going to do, if we look at the bottom here, it's just going to kind of jumble that up. I don't really know if it really does that much for me, but I just feel better knowing that they're not just this flat mechanical line. It just has a little bit of a little bit of ripple and motion to it. And if we zoom in, we can see all of those velocities that I entered by myself. And if I wanted to, I could listen to like a fill. Say, oh well, if I don't like that, I can accent like a couple beats and make it different or something. I could like make it build first and then go again. Okay, so it's sort of a different sound. And that's basically it. From here, I've messed with my MIDI. I've remapped it. I've run it through my gnarly EQ. And it's ready to go. So this is essentially the finished product, and this is. So that's basically it. That's how Invalids drums are made from start to finish, and it takes me a very, very long time to get the sound that I like. So I hope this has been helpful and enlightening. Thank you.